Conquest and community, the afterlife of warrior Sant Ghazi Mian Shahid Amin's book tells the story of, or rather the telling of the story of Shahid Salar Masood, known popularly as Ghazi Mian, a widely relevant Sant whose name shrine is Bahraj, whose shrine is in Bahraj, North India, whose shrine in Bahraj, shrine is in Baraich in North India, bordering Nepal, is a place of pilgrimage that has, over the centuries, acquired the power of aura in popular consciousness. Ghazi Mian is identified by his followers as the nephew of Sultan Mahmud of Ghazi, a historically unverifiable fact. The Turkic warrior who made repeated raids into northwest India in the early 11th century. This claim of kinship explains the provocation in the title of the book. Conquest and community. The afterlife of warrior Sant Ghazi Mian Mahmud of Ghazni is remembered as a brutal conqueror, yet his emperor Ghazi Mian is remembered as a sant around whom a community of Hindus and Muslims continue to worship. In this richly textured study of competing narratives and memory, a genre of which Amin is one of the South Asia's foremost practitioners. He asks how a sense of community or of believers of various religions is constituted because of rather than in spite of a history of conquest. Amin's work is meant to spend, spend Amin's work is meant to scholarship that would focus exclusively on the syncretism of such cults without taking on board the narrative of refashioning of conquest that these cults invariably entail. I mean, it shows that the story of Ghaziman challenges at once our understanding of how the Turkey conquest is remembered and our judgments about how figures who constitute that event ought to be remembered. For means Ghaziman is a conqueror who turns into a protector of whom other things cows a stranger who become a king, a warrior who is reversed most as a sant. Helpfully, at the beginning of the book, Amin provides us with a brief outline of the life of the Sant as well as a glossary. This proves invaluable for the reader as each short chapter toggles between multiple sources and temporal periods, while the main text in each chapter describes different characters in different sites of Ghazi Mian's afterlife. Amin's recounting draws primarily on three main sources: a 17th century Persian history, hagiography, Mirate Masood, 19th and 20th century Urdu and English renderings of folk stories about Ghazi Mian, and present-day ballads about the life of Ghazi Mian performed at his shrine by the fount of Ali, a Muslim community of Balladeers. Although this is not the book's primary purpose, an engagement with the larger implications and politics of the use of these sources would have been illuminating. For instance, while the book relies on both the high Persian text and folk sources to trace the telling of the Ghazi Mian story, Amin himself problematizes this distinction, noting that it is fruitless to adjudicate between the reciprocal influence of an arcane 17th century text and popular cultural stories of the Sant. A more sustained analysis of what constitutes the arcane and the popular, the foreign and the local, the literary and the oral would have been welcome. Although Amin repeatedly resists offering any single answer as to why a conqueror warrior turns into a sant around whom a multi-religious community converge. In his book suggests at least one consistent pattern: the centrality of the figures of the female devotees. Stories tell of Amina Sati, whose name has connotations for both the Muslim and Hindu communities, who welcomes welcomes Hazimian as her brother and is consequently banished from her Hindu home. Her recognition of Hazimian as kin seems to offer a productive way to consider how assent is generated across religious divides. Similarly, in the story of the blind Johra Bibi who was consumed by pining of the warrior sant, we can see a desire that represents the degenerative gendered nature of core devotion itself, and her marriage in death to Ghazi Mian is annually married by devotees to the shrine. The story of Amin, Sati, and Johra Bibi also suggests how we might bring together the dichotomy of the ordinary troubles for which people turn to the Sant. Infertility, marriages, and the history of the Turkic conquest. As Amin's book shows, these are inextricably intertwined processes, both historical, both ordinary. While Amin is highly critical, right while Amin is rightfully critical of scholarship that insists on secretism as somehow inherent to Indian culture, at times his insistence on the localness of Ghazi Mian tips in a similar direction. We can see this in the comparison he offers between the rituals of the saint and the commemoration of Muharram. While Amin notes that the martyrdom, martyrdom martyrdom, MARTYRDOM, martyrdom of Hussain has undoubtedly been an important element of Indian popular religiosity. He writes that it should not be seen as the same as a regional medieval past connecting a Muslim warrior to the toponymy and cultural immediacy of the Gangetic heartland. This observation is another place where Amin might have further unpacked his analysis. For while the differences between the rituals around Kazimian and the observation of Muharram are significant, the highly local way in which Muharram is observed from rural Bengal to urban Hyderabad suggests a parallel form of cultural immediacy, regardless of the origins of the story of Karbala. Let me finish with a quick return to the potent work. The book's title does for the tension between conquest and community is one that has a particular resonance in modern India. In the fourth section of the book, traces both the 17th century Islamist disquiet with the rituals associated with the Ghazimian and the 20th century efforts of Hindu groups like the Arya Samaj to discourage Hindu devotees from worshipping at his shrine. The contemporary resonance will not be lost on Amin's readers, as he notes. Indeed, the prefix Ghazi is only slightly less common in place name than the ubiquitous Rama, standing for the legendary king of Ayodhya, had a day's horse ride from Bahraich across the river Saryu. This is the story of Muslim conquest has been deployed since the colonial period as a means of exacerbating sectarianism through the implication that Muslims are forever foreign. In contemporary India, this rhetoric found one of its most violent manifestations in the 1992 destruction of the Babri Masjid by Hindu nationalists. Conquest, once a heroic event that transformed North Indian social life and kinship, is now a productive fable that ties and tears apart India's sense of community, a consistent trope used to justify the notion that Muslims can never be a part of the nation, which is all why argues scholars find themselves making an argument for community against conquest, the Sufi versus the Turkic warrior, as if these were wholly unrelated historical phenomena. In their state, offer us the example of offer us the Sufi, which is which is which is which is which is which is why argues scholars find themselves making an argument for community against conquest, the Sufi versus Turkic warrior, as if these were wholly unrelated historical phenomena in their state. Offers us the example of Ghazi Man as a figure and sight of the everyday memories. The title of his last chapter of the conquest that not in any way prelude the strong feeling of community engendered by various Sant. The implications of this argument are far reaching, even if it reaches for them obliquely. धन्यवाद. Thank you so much.